Now we're looking at costs of production. Now here's your definition of costs. Costs are any payment in money in order to produce a good or service. For example, the cost of labour is wages, the cost of land is rent, the cost of capital is interest, and the cost of entrepreneur is profit. You could look at it that wages, rent, interest, and profit are payments for the factors of production. Types of costs. You have fixed costs. Fixed costs are costs that do not change with the volume of output. For example, rent, interest on loans. Even if a factory is closed and output is zero, the insurance must be paid. So a fixed cost is any cost that does not move up or down with the level of output. Variable costs are costs that do change with the volume of output. For example, raw materials. As our output goes up, the use of our raw materials goes up. So total cost then would be fixed cost plus variable cost. However, you should note that there is a thing called mixed costs. Costs that have a fixed and a variable element. For example, your electricity cost would have a standard charge and a units used charge. The standard charge would be charged anyway, regardless of whether you use units or not. And here are the diagrams for each. The fixed cost, as you can see, regardless of the level of output, the fixed cost stays the same. The variable cost starts at zero and only goes up as output goes up. And then, of course, the total cost together. You have your fixed cost plus your variable cost, and that gives you your total cost. Note in the total cost, you start the variable cost at the fixed cost point. Now, two definitions, and very important definitions that need to be known. The short run and long run periods. A short run is the period of time when the quantity supplied of one factor of production is fixed. For example, a fixed factor of capital is the size of the factory, or the number of machines does not change. It has got nothing to do with the years. So if you come across a fixed cost anywhere, then that firm is in the short term. Long run is a period of time sufficiently long to permit all factors of production to be variable. Note, in the short run, raw materials have some fixed costs. In the short run, producers have some fixed costs, while in the long run, all the producers' costs are variable. Now, whilst there seems like an awful lot of numbers here, let me go through, and these are just numbers I made up. So that the cost structure of a firm, and you have output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Your fixed cost is €30 all the way along. Your variable cost for 1 unit is 40, for 2 units is 60, for 3 units is 90, for 4 units is 130, etc. And your total cost then is 30 plus 40, 30 plus 60, 30 plus 90, all the way across. So that's easy enough. Now we come to the average fixed cost, and the average fixed cost is fixed cost divided by the output. So 30 divided by 1, 30 divided by 2, 30 divided by 3, 30 divided by 4, and that gives you the average fixed cost. The average variable cost is 40 divided by 1, 60 divided by 2, 90 divided by 3, 130 divided by 4, and that gives me the average variable cost. So the average fixed cost plus the average variable cost will give me average cost, or total cost divided by output. 70 divided by 1, 90 divided by 2, 120 divided by 3, 160 divided by 4, etc. Now the hardest one, so that gives your average costs. Now the hardest one is called marginal cost, and the marginal cost is the difference in your total cost. The difference between 0 output and 1 level of output is 70. The difference in producing 2 as opposed to 1 is 90 minus 70, which is 20. The difference in producing 3 as opposed to 2 is 120 minus 90, which gives you 30. 4 minus 3 gives you 40. 210 minus 160 gives you 50. 280 minus 210 gives you 70. And 380 minus 280 gives you 100. And that's where you get the marginal cost from. So the important lines here are the average cost line and the marginal cost line. Now, we stop there because you do need to analyze this and be comfortable with those figures.